Oh, you're dirty as, bro. Let me sort you out. Much better. Today we're back working on the Forester. We're going to be installing, and this might be slight overkill, I know, a 30-inch light bar. 30 inches of Fury. This is a King's one. They're pretty cheap, to be honest. They're quite affordable. And ever since I got this car, I thought there's a suspiciously light bar sized cutout in the grille, which is this thing right here. Now, obviously you're probably thinking, hey, you need that for airflow. True, I mean, that's there, radiator's there, but there's also a whole lot of radiator there. So putting them on there might increase temperatures a little bit, but I've seen a lot of light bars installed in there and no one's ever said it's been an issue. I do have, and I probably should have done this beforehand, I do have a OBD2 port reader. You can pair that with, I think, an app called Talk Pro, which I can install on my Android head unit. Sorry, they're doing construction over the road, which would tell me my temperatures. I'm not going to worry about it unless I have a problem, and then I'll set that up. But anyway, let's install the light bar on the Forester. It's going to be sick. So what we have is we have a King's plug and play spotlight wiring harness. That comes with 3 things. This is if you're using spotlights, because you obviously need to run two lights instead of one, so we don't need this. See you later. This is a relay we're not going to use because we don't need 24 volt. This, I believe, is a plug for the back of the headlights. So we'll plug something in here, probably maybe that, into there, and that will plug into the back of the headlight. So it's like a little piggyback harness kind of thing, which means that when we turn our high beams on, the light bar will come on. This runs to the battery, that runs into the back of the light bar, this runs inside to the car. Got a little switch, so that's probably going to be the most pain part, running that inside the car. And as I said, that runs to that which connects the headlights. So theoretically, it sounds like it's going to be quite easy. I've never done a light bar install before, but I'm excited. I think it's going to look good. I think also making brackets to sit the light bar down in that slot is going to be probably a bit of a challenge, but I've got some laying around. I've got some metal laying around. I'm sure we'll be able to make something work. So first things first, let's see if it actually fits in there, which it should, because I measured it. So it should fit in there pretty, oh, look at that. That's Mickey Mouse. That's going to look pretty cool, I think. Pretty like subtle, like you'll see it obviously, but I think it just fits in there so snug. I like this light bar because it's not too like fat, like tall. Like some of them are really quite thick, 2 rows of lights. This just has 1 row. I said 30 inches, pretty considerable. That's gonna be nice. All right, now I gotta work out how to mount the damn thing. So we may need to take the bumper off, but let's pop this and let's get up under there and see what we can work out. All right, so the glaringly obvious issue that I'm facing with my light is that I can't really see like any super accessible grommets to run the wiring through to the cabin. So like in the Evo, there's like one tucked up in there, which there's not in the Forester. There's one down over there, but that one's like pretty sealed up pretty good. And over here, there's sort of one there. Again, it's pretty tucked in there pretty well. And I don't really want to run it over this side because obviously I need to get the wiring to the driver's side. So if I can run it through over there, that's probably the best. I did look underneath in here, and there is one, let me get the torch in place, up in there. Let me get you up in there. There is one right there. However, that does run into the fender. I can see the wire going through it in there. If I'm gonna run that, I need to take fender off, which I'd prefer not to do because then I have to try and get all of these perfect again, all the lines. I could try and pull the wheel liner off, but again, I don't really want to. But at this stage, I'm thinking that's probably what I'm gonna have to do. But I'm just gonna ignore that part for now. I'm gonna work on actually getting the bar mounted and what we're gonna mount it to. So there's a lot of supports up in there. I'm thinking I'm probably just gonna use this support. I'll put a L bracket off there, run a bit of metal down, and then there'll be another L bracket which will join into the light bar. I've got that on either side, so I can just really just hopefully put a bolt in there without drilling anything. That'll make me very happy. That's probably what I'm thinking at this stage. I'm even going to try it without actually even taking front bar off. I feel like I can get my hands up in there, so that would be super ideal if we could just get it mounted in there looking nice. So these are the brackets that comes with the light bar. Obviously that's meant to bolt on, and then the light bar will screw in through these. The idea essentially would just be to, well, this is the wrong side, but you get the idea, to bolt that, well, we could do it this way, bolt that on in there, sort of like that, but this, I don't think it's quite far forward enough. I'm going to double check. I really need to bring it out, so I need to bring it out to about there. So what I'm going to do is, I have 4 of these left over from my diffuser install last week, so what I'm thinking I'm doing is putting 2 of these together right that will give me quite a lot of wiggle movement. That will give me, you know, I can go out to there or I can have it there, and that, you know, gives me a bit of play. So let's give that a whirl and see how it goes. That's step one done. We've got the first bracket in. I decided to put the bolt through the back and out because I couldn't quite get my fingers up on there to get the nut on with this in the way. And I did actually put the bolt through the ring spanner and then just carefully line it up and then push it through the hole. So that was in there pretty easy. Now the next part is to put this part on the next little bracket, which would be good. I can do it this way, I can do it that way, depending on what spacing I sort of need. And the good thing is too, I can angle it. So wherever I want the light bar to sort of sit, I can mess around with the angle of it like this. Picked up a little bolt kit from Bunnings. I think this is about 20 bucks, which is probably pretty expensive for the amount of bolts in here, but you know, I think it's, what's that, 480 pieces. Not too bad to have something like this around. I know bolt shops are a lot cheaper than Bunnings for bolts, and these probably aren't the best quality, but for stuff like this, they're perfect. And it's a super convenient option. Second bracket is in, like so. Now we can get the one that came with the light bar and stick it on like that. So I'll bolt that in, and then what I want to do is I want to attach the light bar to that side, see where it sits in terms of how it's centered, and then I can play around with how these are adjusted once I work out if it's looking where I want it to look. So something like that is how I'm going to start. Let's grab the light bar that's over there and screw that fella in. So I probably don't really have to screw it in. Let's just see how it sits. So it's gonna sit about there, yeah. So it's not far enough over. So I've got to go over more. But in terms of like how far back it sits, I think that's gonna be pretty spot on. Like how tucked in it is. Yeah, about there, which is pretty much exactly where I want it. Let's work on moving it that way. Fortunately, this little part of the bumper that sticks out is getting in the way, so I can't mount the bracket. I can't mount the bracket further enough over to have it centered on both sides. They both have this little tab that sticks out. So if that line continued up as it was, we'd be sweet. So that's got to go. I'm just going to try it with my good mate Stanley. See if I can just cut through that plastic. Hopefully it's thin enough. If not, I think I've got a little hacksaw or something and I'll work something out. The Stanley cuts through it quite easily. Just kind of saw back and forth a bit, which is always good. It's generally I find, without scratching the rest of it, generally I find Stanley knives are good enough for this stuff. It's quite hard to do with one hand, so I'll see you when I'm done. See you later. Now, there's plenty of room there. Got it modified. Let's see how it goes, see how it's gonna sit. Bang, that's already, that's Mickey Mouse. Still plenty of movement, like I've got to be able to adjust the light bar up and down. I've got to be able to get the Allen key in the side here to be able to adjust that, which I should be able to. And I should be able to get to that bolt over the top. It'll be tight, but I should be able to do it. So, oh no, because I'll put this on after. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's see if we can actually get this thing up in here. Get it hanging out. Sit a bit. Oh, bug off. That's not gonna fit. Okay, kind of have to work that out, but you know, one thing at a time. Why doesn't this fit? How can it not fit in there? It did fit in there, now it's not. Well, that's a spanner in the works. It don't fit, needs more adjustment, but you see the vision. All right, I need to push them out more, so I'm gonna play around with that, and then I'll show you what I've got it on. How about that? All right, we've made some progress, some painstaking progress, but we've made progress. That's how it's going to look. It's sitting in there pretty nice, pretty much like it's always meant to be. It's still loose, I haven't adjusted it yet. There's sort of like a host of problems essentially. The main ones being that the bumper has a bit of plastic in the middle that joins this part to this part. So I had to have the light bar far enough forward to where that wasn't a problem. Then I had to make sure that these brackets were far enough out to where the light bar actually fit, but they also had to be far enough in to where I can actually do up these bolts. And obviously I'm pushing it as it is, but I should be able to get them. So I'll tighten that up in a little bit. Next step, essentially, I've got to take this cable, run that up. So I'm gonna get rid of this cover. Battery's over there, so we've got to run to that. We've got to work out which headlight is the best to tap into, whether it's that one or that one, but that depends on the harness. And then the next thing will be working out where to go into the cabin, which I'm not overly enthusiastic about. I feel like that's going to be even less fun than mounting the damn thing, but it is mounted. I might just tighten it up now. Okay, the light bar is officially mounted. That's exactly where it's sitting. It's done up tight. I ended up cutting a little bit of a cutout in there because we've got this opening for the tow hook. I could actually get an Allen key in there and tighten that up from through here. That was kind of the best way to do it. There's a bit of a pain getting this side. I kind of just like bent it a bit that way, did that up, and then pushed it back and then did that up. That's how it sits. I can adjust it fairly easily through that hole, but I'm quite happy with that. You can sit back and that's how it looks. Tucked in there, pretty neat and tidy. So next step is grab this. Hello. That's the end for it. So now I've got that out, so I can work out, well, I'll probably get this loom now and work out where to mount stuff. I got to mount a fuse, I mean a relay, probably close to the battery, I would imagine, over there. So maybe Bro, you good or what? Man, I'm just throwing it out there. Concreters are kind of weird. No offense if you're a concreter. So we've got the harness happening. That needs to plug into that end there, the Deutsch one. That switch has to run inside the car, okay? Not worried about that right now. What I'm worried about is power, okay? Positive, negative, as you know, has to go positive there, negative there. These are quite short. So I'm gonna have to mount the relay. Well, you get the idea. Mount the relay right there. That'll push down, red will run to there, black will run to there. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna take the fuse out before we do that stuff, so we don't have any problems. Now this one is what we need to run to where we tap into the high beams, okay? So I could do that right here, but this cable's kind of long and it's like a little bit less room in this side. So I'm actually gonna run this across and run that over to here. The high beam plug is that one. Let me prove it to you. Turn that on. All right, lights on. Okay, come over here. Oh, it's on. It's not meant to be on. Turn high beams off. High beams are off. All right, I can see, and I know it's hard to see the actual bulbs because it's just brightness, but that is the low beam. That is the Parker. All right, high beams. Okay, that is the high beam. You look in the back of it and that leads me to right that one, which coincidentally is also the only plug that will fit. So it's kind of a dead giveaway, but you know, you gotta double check these things. We have this is our little, don't know if I want to call it a piggyback harness, but that's kind of what it is. So we're gonna unplug this fella. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. The answer is no. So we now have this unplugged. Okay, just like that. He's gonna plug into high beam, what we just unplugged, and that's gonna go in there like this. And then this is gonna plug into this end of the big harness. The next step now is to work out actually exactly where I'm gonna run through the firewall into the inside of the car. Like I said, there is one right down in the driver's side footwell that I'd like to use, but I gotta suss if I can get to it without pulling the fender off. So I'm gonna work that out and then we'll go from there. All right, we found the way. I pulled this fender liner down. I figured that was probably gonna be the easiest thing to just try without too much difficulty. We got some fun stuff come out, but that just up in there is exactly where we need to come through. So now we should be able to feed our switch in through here, except you can actually take the switch off. So we'll be taking the switch off and then I'll probably try and put this on a bit of wire or something that I can feed through. It's got a bit of rigidity. I'll tape these up. Feed that through here. We'll follow this. This is the cable for the bonnet latch, this thing. And then the other side of that is essentially that little wire that runs up, that one just there. So we'll follow that down, bang, straight in, and we're in the cabin. That won't be too bad. Be pretty careful pulling these off. I don't want to pull them by the wire in case that they pull out of the little terminal. Pull the whole terminal connector thing. Come on. Actually, you know what? Let's take a photo. Black, white, and blue. Take a little photo of that so I know how they go. Otherwise, I mean, the fortunate thing about filming is that I could just go back and watch the video, but it's like quite a lot easier to just look at a photo then. There's our switch. So we're gonna have to work out somewhere to mount this. Let's get this in there first. To be honest, I'm just gonna try and feed it up through there and sort of just see if I can find the other end without having to tie it to anything, because that would obviously be much easier. Going somewhere. Oh, hello. Found it. That seems very easy. That seemed like too easy. Now we've got to get it through the plug. We'll cut a new hole, or we'll probably just poke a hole through probably. There's like 3 little spots where you can poke a hole through, so let me just get a big screwy, find the soft spot at the top, poke that fella through, except I might have to poke it the other way because pushing it that way is pushing the actual thing out, pushing the grommet out of where it sits. So I'm gonna do it from the inside. Now we've got the hole in it. This is what we're doing. Tape them with a screwdriver, and then hopefully I'll just be able to push them through without too much issue. Screwdriver's kind of bigger than what I want, but I don't have any like strong like fencing wire or anything rigid enough. So screwdriver's gonna have to try and do. All right, we got the wires through. Now we're gonna work out where we're gonna mount the switch. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure where we're going to mount it. There's not really anywhere down here with any like provisions for it. Sometimes there's a little things you can pop out and the switch will pop in. There's not really anything down here. There is one right here. I assume that's what that's for, but it's not very big and it's kind of like a long way away. And I don't feel like I need a light bar switch in the middle, the center of attention, when it's something that really you just turn on and then you don't really ever switch that often from experience. So I'll probably just tuck it down in under here somewhere. Like it might sit something like that. That way, you know, it'll be out of the way. I'm not gonna worry about that just yet. We'll plug it in to the switch. We'll finish wiring it up in the bay, make sure it'll work. Then I'll tackle that, you know, little things like that later. There's actually no reason why we can't just test the light bar now. All we have to do is connect to the battery, which is not a problem. We're gonna connect the Deutsch into the light bar itself. All right, that's that done. Now all we have to do is connect it to the battery and then we can give it a whirl. These type instead of the circular type is that we can pretty much connect it without actually disconnecting the battery. So we'll listen the positive off and under there like so. Let's stick the negative in there. Okay, we should be able to stick our fuse in. Fuse is in, light bar should be connected. So I'm gonna set you up where you can see, probably gonna be about something like that. And then I'm gonna go turn the high beams on and see what happens. If we turn on that and the light's on, we should still have light, hopefully. Yep, very cool. Okay, we should be able to turn on our high beams. Okay, and still have high beams. Yep, that means our little relay piggyback harness thing's working because our high beams are still working. Pretty cool. Now we should be able to flick our switch and we should have full power. Bang. How's that? Oh, that is bright. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna have to update those high beams because they are old globes and not LEDs. So orange, white, it's kind of weird, but that's sick. I'm very happy. Oh, it's so bright, look at it. What I'm gonna do now is disconnect from the power. Yep, thinking about it. Disconnect from the power. I'm gonna disconnect from the power. I'm gonna mount the relay. I'm gonna run all the wires. And then that's it. Like I'm close. And then essentially just tidy up all these, work out where to hide them, and we're done and dusted. Fuzz mods, let's go, baby, let's go. We nearly had a problem. So very nearly. I pulled the grill off because I was like, I don't really want to I don't want to run all the wires across the top of the radiator. I'm like, that's kind of suspect. And like everything here is kind of hot. Like there's nowhere sort of good to run them. So I was like, cool, I'll pull this off and I'll put them under here somewhere. The wire that runs inside to the switch is pretty much at its full length. So there's like a little bit of slack in it, but like that's it. And like if I wanted to run this to the center console, like I said, we'd be extending it because it's not going any further. So it's going to run right across here under the horn, down. I had to take this radiator bracket off, push the radiator a little bit so I could get the relay through. I had to push it through down there, behind the windscreen wiper, refill thing, reservoir. That's the word, reservoir. So then that will mount, bang, right there like that. That will run straight to the battery, which I'm super stoked about. I think that's pretty much perfect. And then this will give me a good chance to tuck all these wires in here behind the crash beam and all that sort of stuff. Bang, relay mounted. Now essentially the job is just get bolt cable ties like so, and make it so nothing's gonna roll, nothing's gonna get destroyed. And I think I'm gonna sit it just down in there. Bang a wire in that, and then I can put another one around wherever I want it to be. That's like a pretty good spot, I reckon. Nice and neat and tidy, tucked out of the way. No one will ever know. It's just a light bar and it just works, you know? I reckon let's put our grill back in. Our mad, genuine sports grill, which completely changes the look of these cars. If you have a stock grill on a Forester, you shouldn't, because they're bad. You know, we can put all our stupid push clips back in. Push clips, which I hate. Get in though. It's your home, bro. Go back in there. Man, I'm like, it's taking me like most of the day to do this. I think I started at like 10:30 or something, and now it's 4:30. It's like a pretty long time for a light bar install, but I think because of how we mounted the light bar, that just took like way longer than if you were just mounting it on a bull bar or something. Then that would be, you know, pretty straightforward, I would think. Now I need to put our little intake fella back on. Now that our wiring's all sorted, this goes into the intake, getting some mad air in there. Done, done, done. Now what we've got to do, my friends, put the fuse back in, get a close up on it. She won't be that close, but I'll show you where I put the fuse. So the fuse is going to go right there, so it should be pretty easy to get to in case we ever have a problem with that. I'll tell you what, it's bright. Look at the damn thing. Fun fact, I actually forgot to put the fuse in. I pulled it out, turned it on, and I was like, why the fuck is it not working? But I forgot the fuse like an idiot. Now that it's dark out, let's test this damn thing out. Okay, so we got low beams, all right, high beams, pretty good, pretty good. I do need to change the bulbs, obviously, for obvious reasons, but that's what we've got. All right, where's the switch? Here it is. All right, light bar. Whew. Yeah, it's massively, so much better. I think I want to point it down a little bit, but yeah, because it's mostly pointing at the sky. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna point it down, but you get the idea, it's bright as hell. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, something a little different. Pretty easy install, you could probably do it. Goodbye.